My name is Lauren Fadeley, and I am a principal dancer in the Pennsylvania Ballet. A difficult experience that shaped who I am today would probably be just deciding to go to college and my time there. Though it was a difficult decision to decide to, not be a professional dancer anymore and go to school and in a way just kind of drop off, the face of the ballet world for a while there. Um, that was a difficult decision, but actually being there was a great experience for me. But I think it really did, that time shaped who I am now because I was able to really discover who I was as a person and not as a dancer. Started dancing when I was 4 in Orlando, Florida. Started at a competition school, doing jazz and ballet modern, and ballet was always my favorite and the one that I was the best at, so that's helpful. Started going to summer programs, went to the Rock School, Pennsylvania Ballet, and School of American Ballet. I went when I was 15 to SAB, my sophomore year of high school. I was at SAB for 1 year, went through the workshop and everything. Starting back my second year at SAB, I was in the highest level. Thought I still have a lot of time. All of a sudden, one day, Peter Martins watches class. It's like, okay, you're an apprentice in the company. You start tomorrow. And I was like, okay. It was one of those, I knew I wasn't ready for it, but you don't say no to that opportunity. I broke my foot my second year in the company, my first year in the Core. And I kind of had a wake-up call that you can't dance forever. And during my physical therapy and everything, I kind of was enjoying not dancing for the first time in my life. And that was a big realization as well. I was like, this is something that's always made me happy. And now all of a sudden I'm happy not dancing. And I decided to leave New York City Ballet. I had about a 4-month period where I lived at home. And I hadn't lived at home for several years now. I was used to being on my own and being a dancer. And I was home and my parents were like, okay, you're going to college. You need to get a job while you're here. And I remember filling out applications for a job at the mall and just being like, I've never had to do this before. I was always, my job was my dream, and to all of a sudden be a normal person was hard for me. Not to say this is hard, this is what, people do, but it was just for me, that realization of what I had given up. I given that up to now be, living with my parents and working a normal job and, just being under their roof again, and not, they had to be my parents again. And it's just an adjustment period, and that was hard because, I think they were always so supportive of me, but they knew that I wasn't happy. I think being a dancer in general, you always have a vicious cycle of uncertainty and self-doubt. I still have it to this day. I'm more equipped to handle it now, but I always say we stand in a mirror staring at ourselves all day long and are told what we're doing wrong all day long. I put a lot of pressure on myself, but also, anytime you hear something that you've done wrong, I took it as a dagger to the heart. I took everything very, very personally. Depression and suicidal thoughts run in my family, and at the time when I was really upset and sad, I didn't know this, so it was hard at first to be like, why am I not happy? All of this, a lot of times they say that it's those kind of depression can be sparked by an incident in your life that can bring it about. And I think for me, it was the whole, going through puberty and breaking my foot and being in this intense ballet world. where I wasn't happy, that really kind of intensified that predisposition that I already had. I was diagnosed with depression. I saw a therapist, on medication, and in the beginning I was embarrassed by it. Being a dancer, it's like everything has to be perfect. You know, you're always trying to be perfect. You know, that's what we practice all the time to get it as the best it can be. And I felt like, well, this means I'm not the best I can be. It took me a while to really understand that me on the medication was making me be the person that I really was. My doctor kind of explained it to me in a way that, you know, people have to take heart medicine or something every day, and so for me, and like this is what I have to do every day to make myself be who I am supposed to be. You know, not being sad and, you know, thinking that, oh, I'm being strong because I don't need medication. You know, this is something a lot of people deal with, and there was a time in college where I thought, oh, you know what, I'm better. I'm fine, you know, I don't need to do any of this anymore. And so I went off the medication, and it was, I remember I had 4.0, had a boyfriend, I did Sugar Plum and Nutcracker, and I was miserable. My parents were like, you don't have to be like this. And I was like, well, but I'm better now. I don't need help. I'm fine, you know? And they're like, no, this is not you. I finally realized, like, no, I don't want to be like this. Like, I should be happy with everything that's happening in my life. Why am I not happy? So it was that point where I finally realized, like, no, I'm not ashamed of it anymore. You know, this is who I am. And to realize that I wasn't happy with what I was doing was sad and disappointing to me, but it also made me worried about what everyone else would think, you know. And it was this, you know, how do I explain this to other people that I don't want to dance, something that I've always wanted to do. So I think that made it harder for me. Education had always been important to me, so I chose to go to college. And that was interesting when I went to, you know, tell them I'm going to school. You know, a lot of people are like, why would you ever, you know, leave New York City Ballet? So I chose to go to Indiana University in Bloomington, Indiana. Was there for 3.5 years. I started a semester late because of my leaving New York City Ballet, but I was able to finish in time over the summers and all of that. And you know, it was a great experience. I forever had defined myself as a dancer. So to actually be, you know, in the Midwest by myself with people I didn't know, being a normal college student was eye-opening for me to be who I wanted to be, or whoever I wanted to be. I think if I hadn't had those 4 years to really, 3.5 years, to really discover who I was besides a dancer, I wouldn't be the same person I am now. But I always say to people, you know, that are thinking about, should I go to college or go, you know, follow my career? It's hard. It's a hard decision, but I always say college gives you 4 years of your life. You don't have to know what you want to do. You can just be, it's socially acceptable to not know what you're doing with your life. My junior year at Indiana University, we were doing Who Cares concert version. You know, my favorite ballets to watch, favorite parts to see, I got to actually dance this. It was incredible. And Elise Bourne set that on us. And after our show, she was like, "You're not done dancing." She was like, "The world still needs to see you dance." I do think I use some of my life experiences to influence my movement, because I feel like I'm just more free now. I'm open. I'm happy. I'm confident now, and I think that definitely shows when I'm dancing. I guess the message I'd like to share to people watching this would be to just do what makes you happy. You know, this life is not very long. You know, I think a lot of times we get wrapped up in that. Like, I have to do this today and this today. I do it all the time. And sometimes it seems like it's forever. But in the scheme of things, you know, it's really not that long. And there's only so much time for you to be happy with yourself and, you know, make other people happy. And just to, I don't know, not take anything for granted.